Let me ask you something. Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment, only to regret it seconds later? Have you ever let someone's words get under your skin, and let that one moment ruin your entire day? We've all been there, triggered, reactive, emotional, and afterward we wonder, why did I let that get to me? But what if I told you that there's a way to live where your peace doesn't get hijacked by every situation, where you stay calm when others explode, and where your strength isn't loud, it's quiet, steady, and untouchable? That's not a fantasy. That's a skill. And the ancient Stoics mastered it. Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful ideas in Stoic philosophy, the art of responding instead of reacting. This isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about taking back control. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't flinch, doesn't panic, and doesn't lose themselves, no matter what life throws at them. So if you're tired of letting the outside world control your inner world, stay with me. Because once you learn how to master this one shift, you'll never be the same again. Point 1. Reclaim your power through awareness. Imagine this. You're walking into a room, and someone casually throws a comment your way. Maybe it's a subtle jab at your work, your appearance, or your choices. You feel a sharp sting in your chest. Before you can think, your heart rate spikes, your fists clench, and you're already preparing a comeback. Stop, right there. This is where most people lose their power, because in that tiny space, between what happens and how you respond, is where your freedom lives. The truth is, most people go through life not living, but reacting to insults, reacting to disappointment, reacting to failure, as if they have no control, as if their emotions own them. But the Stoics, they saw life differently. They believed in a kind of inner fortress, a place inside you no one else can touch. And the key to unlocking that place is awareness. Awareness is not just noticing. It's about stepping back from your automatic responses and asking, what exactly am I feeling right now? Where is this coming from? Is my response going to reflect who I truly am? Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, used to write to himself each morning, reminding his mind that it would be tested by difficult people, by hard situations, by unfairness. But he didn't pray for the world to change. He trained himself to become aware, so that nothing could steal his composure. This kind of awareness is a skill, and like any skill, it must be practiced daily. Try this. The next time you feel triggered, pause. Just pause. Take one breath. Then ask yourself, am I reacting because I'm hurt, or responding because I'm wise? This pause may only last a few seconds, but in those seconds, you're not just avoiding conflict. You're building the foundation of an unshakable life. A life where your emotions are acknowledged, but not obeyed. A life where you lead yourself instead of being led by circumstances. That's the first step in mastering response over reaction. It all begins with awareness, the quiet skill that transforms chaos into clarity and turns emotional turbulence into emotional intelligence. Point 2. Master the pause, your greatest tool in the heat of the moment. Let's be honest, when life gets intense, the pause is the first thing we forget. Someone disrespects you, and your mouth starts moving before your mind catches up. You feel attacked, and suddenly your ego takes the wheel. You hear bad news, and the panic begins to rise before you even understand what's happening. This is the battlefield where most people lose, not because they're weak, but because they've never trained themselves to pause. But the Stoics, they mastered it. They knew that between stimulus and response, there exists a sacred space, and in that space lies the power to choose, to remain grounded, and to act with intention instead of impulse. Seneca once said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay," and he meant it literally. Delay your reaction, even by a breath, and you allow reason to step in before emotion takes control. Imagine being in a heated meeting. You're being blamed for something you didn't do. Your body tenses, your mind races. You want to snap back, defend yourself, fight the fire with more fire. But instead, you breathe. You buy yourself 3 seconds, And in those 3 seconds, a miracle happens. You regain access to your higher mind. You remember what matters. You ask yourself, what outcome do I actually want here? Do I want to be right, or do I want to be wise? This is what the pause does. It saves relationships. It protects your dignity. It keeps your goals intact. It's not weakness. It's elite self-control, because anyone can speak quickly. Anyone can react. But only the trained, only the disciplined, know how to hold silence like a sword, waiting for the right moment to strike with clarity, not chaos. So how do you build this skill? Start small. Practice delaying your responses, not just in arguments, but in everyday life. When someone cuts you off in traffic, pause. When your phone buzzes with a frustrating message, pause. When you're tempted to reply with sarcasm, pause. These moments are your training ground. Each pause strengthens your mental armor. Each breath you take before reacting sharpens your wisdom. Eventually, you'll find that your default state isn't panic. It's presence, not reactivity, but restraint. And that right there is the difference between a person ruled by emotion and a person guided by purpose. Point 3. Shift your perspective. Reframing the situation changes everything. Here's a secret the Stoics lived by. The event itself doesn't hurt you. It's your interpretation of the event that does. Think about that for a second. You lose a job. Someone betrays your trust. A plan falls apart. Most people say, "This ruined me." But the Stoics would ask, what story are you telling yourself about this? And is it the only story you could tell? This is the art of reframing, of choosing to see the same event through a different lens. Let's look at a modern example. You're working hard. You're giving your best. But your efforts aren't being recognized. It's easy to fall into resentment, to say, "They don't see me." What's the point? That's one frame. But what if, instead, you shifted your perspective? What if you said, "This is training. This is my silent season. This is where I learn to be consistent without applause." Because true strength is built in the dark. Suddenly, that same situation that once drained you now sharpens you. That's the power of reframing. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that it's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. And those judgments, they're not fixed. You have the power to change them. Let me give you another image. 2 people are stuck in the rain. One curses the storm, complains about the inconvenience, soaked in frustration. The other raises their face to the sky, lets the rain fall, and smiles. Same storm, different mindset. You see, the world will throw storms at you, but you decide whether it's a curse or a cleansing. And when you master this shift, this inner narrative, you gain something priceless: emotional freedom. You no longer wait for life to be perfect in order to be at peace. You no longer hand your happiness to circumstances. You reclaim your authority as the author of your own meaning. So here's the practice. When adversity strikes, ask yourself, is there another way to look at this? What is this teaching me? How can this pain serve my growth? This doesn't mean lying to yourself. It means becoming a strategist of your own mind, refusing to let one negative lens define the entire picture, because the Stoic doesn't escape reality. They engage with it, differently, intentionally, and with a vision that turns wounds into wisdom. Point 4. Focus only on what you control, and let go of the rest. One of the greatest sources of suffering in life is trying to control what was never ours to command. We want people to act a certain way. We want situations to unfold according to our plans. We want recognition, fairness, understanding, and when we don't get it, we spiral. But the Stoics had a radical solution. Only invest your energy where your power truly lies. They divided the world into 2 categories: what's within your control and what isn't. Your thoughts? Yes. Your choices? Absolutely. Your words, your effort, your attitude, all within your command. But the opinions of others, number the past. Definitely not. The outcomes of your actions, never fully yours. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said it clearly. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Simple, profound, liberating. Because when you start living by this principle, truly living it, your stress begins to dissolve. Your frustration fades. Your sense of power actually grows, not because you control more, but because you stop wasting energy on what you can't. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. Let's say you're preparing for a job interview. You study, you practice, you show up on time. That's your side of the street, clean and clear. Now whether they hire you or not, that's up to them. That's not where your identity should live. Or maybe you send a message to someone, heartfelt, honest. You hope for a response, but they don't reply. The old you would obsess, overthink, spin stories. The Stoic you say, I did my part. The rest is out of my hands. And you move forward. This mindset doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. Because now, instead of being emotionally tossed around by every wind of circumstance, you've anchored yourself to the only thing you ever truly owned. Your response, your reason, your integrity. And here's the paradox. When you stop trying to control everything, you actually become more in control of your emotions, your direction, your peace. So take this with you. The next time you're overwhelmed, ask, is this within my control? If yes, then act with clarity. If no, then release it fully. Let go, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Because true power is quiet. It doesn't chase. It chooses where to stand, and stands firm. Point 5. Reflect daily. Sharpen your mind. Like a blade, growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens through intention. And reflection is the blade that sharpens your character. You can live 1,000 days, but if you never pause to reflect, you're simply repeating the same day over and over again. The Stoics understood this deeply. Each night before sleep, the great Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius would sit with himself, not with distractions, not with excuses, but with honesty. He would write in his journal, asking, what did I do well today? Where did I fall short of my principles? How can I respond better tomorrow? He wasn't trying to be perfect. He was trying to be aware. He was practicing the art of deliberate living. And that's the mindset we must reclaim. Because in today's fast-paced world, most people don't reflect. They just react, survive, and repeat. They let the days blur. They avoid stillness, because stillness brings truth. And truth, it can be uncomfortable. But here's what the Stoics knew. You can't grow what you don't measure. You can't improve what you don't observe. That's why reflection is not a luxury. It's a discipline, a daily reset that brings you back to your values, your goals, and your deeper self. And you don't need hours, just 10 minutes. A quiet room, a pen, a few questions. Did I stay calm under pressure? Did I let my emotions guide me? Or my principles? Where can I practice more restraint, more compassion, more wisdom? Over time, this habit rewires your mind. It strengthens your emotional muscle. You begin to see patterns, the triggers that derail you, the moments where you rise, the progress you're making. You start living with clarity, not chaos. And perhaps most importantly, reflection teaches humility, because when you face your flaws with courage, they lose their power. You stop pretending and start transforming. So make it sacred. Give yourself space at the end of each day, not to judge, but to understand, because the man who reflects, refines. And in that nightly ritual, you're not just reviewing your day, you're training your soul to respond, to grow, and to lead with intention. Point 6. Train your mind with mindfulness, the discipline of presence. In a world full of noise, the rarest thing is a present mind. We're constantly pulled by notifications, distractions, racing thoughts, and unfinished to-do lists. Our bodies may be here, but our minds are everywhere else. And that disconnection, it weakens us. That's why the practice of mindfulness is not just spiritual, it's strategic. The Stoics didn't use the word mindfulness, but they lived it. They walked slowly. They spoke with intention. They examined their thoughts as if they were studying another person, because they knew a man who cannot sit with himself will be ruled by everything outside himself. So what is mindfulness? really. It's the ability to notice your thoughts without being dragged by them, to observe your emotions without becoming them, to be where your feet are. Think of your mind like a muscle. When left untrained, it reacts impulsively, irrationally, emotionally. But when exercised through mindfulness, it becomes a weapon, sharp, calm, precise. Try this. Each morning, before the world gets loud, sit in silence for 5 minutes. Just breathe, no phone, no agenda, just you and your breath. At first, your mind will fight it. It will wander, it will itch for distraction. That's okay. Bring it back. Again and again. This is your training. And when you practice it regularly, something incredible happens. You build mental stillness. You develop an inner space that can't be shaken by external chaos. You get cut off in traffic. You breathe. Someone insults you. You stay grounded. Your plans fall apart. You don't. Because mindfulness gives you a buffer, a pause between life's triggers and your response. It turns storms into gentle ripples. And mindfulness isn't just sitting in silence. It's a way of being. You can walk mindfully, noticing each step. You can eat mindfully, tasting, not rushing. You can listen mindfully, without waiting for your turn to speak. Every moment becomes an opportunity to be here, to be clear, and to be in control. The Stoics believed that life is short, and most people waste it by not being present for it. So don't let your life pass in autopilot. Anchor your attention, because when your mind is fully present, your responses aren't reactions. They are reflections of your highest self. Point 7. Respond with virtue. Let your character guide your actions. When emotions run high and the world pushes your buttons, it's easy to ask, what do I feel like doing? But the better question, the Stoic question, is this. What would the best version of me do right now? This is the heart of Stoic living, responding not with impulse, but with virtue. The ancient Stoics believed that every situation, no matter how trivial or tough, is an opportunity to practice your character. They didn't just value calmness or intelligence. They valued virtue, the 4 timeless pillars of a strong human being. Wisdom, seeing things clearly and acting thoughtfully. Courage, doing what's right, even when it's hard. Justice, treating others fairly and holding integrity. Temperance, practicing self-control and restraint. Let's say someone disrespects you. The reaction? Snap back, get even, show them you're not weak. But if you pause and ask, what would a just man do? What would a wise man say? Suddenly you're choosing character over ego. This doesn't mean letting people walk over you. Stoicism is not about passivity. It's about choosing your power, not proving it. It's about asking yourself, is this response aligned with my principles? Will I be proud of how I handled this tomorrow? Does this reflect who I want to be, not just who I feel like being? Virtue gives you a compass. It keeps you anchored when the world spins. It reminds you that every moment of conflict, frustration, or uncertainty is also a test, not of the world, but of you. And here's the beauty of it. You don't need anyone's permission to act with virtue, not approval, not applause. You just need the courage to listen to your higher self and follow through. Because at the end of the day, you're not defined by what happens to you. You're defined by how you respond. So let your response be your resume. Let your restraint be your strength. Let your actions speak so clearly that your values echo without words. That is Stoicism in motion. That is virtue lived. Point 8. Lead by example. Be the calm in the chaos. There's a certain presence you feel when someone walks into a room and brings stillness with them. Not because they speak the loudest, but because they radiate something rare. Inner peace. This is the kind of power the Stoics cultivated. Not the power to dominate others, but the power to master themselves. And from that mastery, they influence the world, without needing to control it. You see, in moments of pressure, most people look around. They mirror the anxiety, the panic, the frustration. But true leaders are the ones who remain composed. Not because the storm doesn't affect them, but because they've trained themselves to be the eye of the storm. You don't have to be a manager, a CEO, or a philosopher to lead. You lead every time you respond with clarity, while others react with chaos. You lead when you choose patience in traffic, when you breathe before responding to a rude message, when you show restraint during conflict, when you choose wisdom over winning an argument. These are the moments that define you. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in the world, wrote not for others, but for himself. He reminded himself daily to be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea still falls around it. Why? Because people need anchors. They need to see that it's possible to stay grounded, even when life becomes turbulent. And maybe you don't realize it, but someone is watching you. A younger sibling, a friend, a stranger at the coffee shop. They're watching how you hold yourself when things go wrong. They're learning from your calm. They're taking notes on your restraint. When you respond thoughtfully, you're not just protecting your peace. You're giving others permission to do the same. That's leadership in its purest form. So the next time life erupts around you, ask yourself, can I be the steady voice in a room of noise? Can I be the one who brings presence instead of panic? Can I show others through my example what true strength looks like? Lead not with force, but with example. Not with dominance, but with dignity. That is how the Stoic walks through life, not needing to control others, because he's already in command of himself. Point 9. Turn every day into training. Make response a way of life. By now, you've learned the art of responding over reacting. You've understood the value of awareness, the pause, reframing, presence, and virtue. But here's the final truth. None of it matters if you don't practice it daily. The Stoics didn't believe in philosophy as a theory. They believed in philosophy as training, a way of life, a gym for the soul. They treated each day as a new opportunity to sharpen the mind, test their principles, and grow in strength. And that's exactly how you must approach this journey. Every single day, life will throw you tests, small ones, big ones, the coworker who interrupts you. That's your chance to practice patience. The delay that ruins your schedule, that's your lesson in surrendering control. The unexpected criticism, a prompt to respond with wisdom, not pride. Don't wait for the perfect moment to be composed. Use the imperfect ones to build it. Every challenge is a chance to respond like a Stoic, with presence, clarity, and virtue. But make no mistake, this isn't easy. You will slip. You'll react. You'll say something you regret. And that's okay. Because the Stoic path isn't about perfection. It's about progress. What matters is that you reflect, recalibrate, and return stronger tomorrow. Build habits around this mindset. Start your mornings with intention. Ask, what challenges might I face today? How do I want to respond to them? Throughout the day, check in with yourself. Am I being ruled by impulse or guided by principle? End your day with reflection. Celebrate the moments you chose well, and learn from the moments you didn't. Over time, this practice becomes your way of being. You'll start to notice something powerful. You're not triggered as easily. You speak with more weight. You move through life with quiet confidence. You no longer need to force respect. You earn it through your energy. You no longer chase peace. You become it. This is the legacy of the Stoic. Not a man who never feels emotion, but one who is never ruled by it. Not someone who avoids life's tests, but one who uses them to evolve. So let your life be your training ground. Let each moment be your practice. Let every challenge be your invitation to rise. Respond. Don't react. That's not just a skill. It's a way of life. And if you live it, you'll not only transform yourself, you'll quietly inspire the world around you to do the same. The power to choose. So now you know, you don't need to control the world to find peace. You don't need to silence others to be strong. You don't need to escape chaos to create calm, because your power was never out there. It was always within you. In every moment, you have a choice: to react with impulse, or to respond with intention, to let life push you, or or to stand rooted in who you are. The Stoics left us a blueprint, a path, not to make us emotionless, but to make us free from the grip of anger, free from the weight of regret, free to live, not as a slave to circumstance, but as a master of response. So the next time life tests you, and it will, remember, your reaction is not required. Your stillness is not weakness. Your pause is not silence. It is strength. It is presence. It is wisdom. Let your life be the evidence of your training. Let your response echo louder than any reaction ever could. And if this message spoke to you, if you felt something shift deep within, then don't let it end here. Subscribe. Join us, because every week we're diving deeper into the mind, the soul, and the Stoic path. And right now, on your screen, there's another step, another insight, another reminder that your calm is your superpower, and your response is your revolution. Till next time, walk with wisdom, live with intention, and never stop becoming.